from the 7th of the 2nd month of 1442, 6 of Pentacles, 15, the Horned One, and Princess of Wands. I am in between regarding what is to me and what is from me. The shaman works his influence over what was done physically. Curious and willful, she starts to develop what can be backed in her psychology. She is full of style that can envelop a communication of what she is spiritually. Must the sky dragon of being be temptation to infernality? Beyond speculation, leave me balanced, but full of generosity. I am here with Lzwvmmh
Araxaru, haha, the old armchair meme.
So,
hello.
Any initial thoughts on the words and images that we have?
No, nothing really. Just let's explore together. I think it sounded very interesting, especially the first card there.
Oh, did you not even see any of the cards here?
No, actually, I didn't. It didn't show very well.
Okay,
but now I can see. I think
so. This is the 6 of
card.
Pentacles. So the lines that we went over for that one was I am in between regarding what is to me and what is from me. Beyond speculation, leave me balanced, but full of generosity.
Oh, wow. All right. So I see there are 3 leaves there, and you mentioned 3 aspects. Is there any connection there, perhaps?
Well, 6 is the typical number. Oh, now it's
okay. Well, there are 3 branches, maybe, and 3 leaves. Is that correct? Maybe.
Well, you see the pentacles hanging down.
Yeah.
Like this guy is. I don't know if he's over water or whether he's supposed to be up in the sky or something. I presume it's over water.
Tell if it's sky or water there.
It looks like he's hanging over the sky or something.
Yeah, it must be because they're like these tree branches. It looks more plausible.
There's tree branches, but see that's sky blue and like clouds down there.
Or maybe it's reflecting in the waters, and the sky is being reflected.
That could be it too. One of the things.
Okay, so it's like a double meaning there. Maybe the sky and the water, like the sky is,
and that's
like
clearly the sky. So above him, around he's clearly the sky above him.
Yeah.
But you see the sky more clearly below him being reflected. Sort of a success card. You got double sets of 3s hanging in. If you remember what I said earlier, the pentacles are like the 6s are like the center of the prince cards. So the prince centers on where the 6s are.
Huh, okay. Interesting.
But it's a balanced number. Like you have 2 triangles and underlace and they overlace, and they have 6 and all sorts of stuff. But
yeah, I mean that's like the most balanced number there is, and I feel this card is revolving around balance a lot. Balance between different aspects of ourselves. What was those aspects again?
Well, this is sort of a card of success. And because you're successful, people are reaching out to you. You see those hands right there in between my 2 fingers. So his hand is out, so he's regarding what other people. Just like without really going much in it, we've already talked about politics, but I think politics. I'm saying is these people, they're public servants. Servants. Not their own. Oh, now that I'm in public office, I get to have 10, 20 $30,000, even $50,000 worth of furniture in my offices because
exactly.
I can't buy the less than $100 version. I have to buy the each of them have to cost thousands of each of the desks at least have to cost thousands of dollars. It's like, no, they don't.
Exactly.
So what? So there's a dozen homeless people that can then that you could have taken off.
What kind of message does that send out? Like a virtue message? Like you're standing for one thing, but your virtue message is completely the opposite in your actions. And
they could have built a house instead for some of these politicians.
Exactly.
Stuff that they do. And they go on trips rather than have the experts give testimony in Congress and all that other stuff. A lot of these politicians get paid to go on trips for whatever.
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
And then they do the same thing that Greta Thunberg does and says, "Oh, I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist."
That's a good.
So what do we say? Greta Thunberg says that, and so the politician. I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a girl who should be in school, but because of all you, I'm not in school. And it's like, no, you're not in school because
if you're in school, then
some billionaire is paying your family millions of dollars, and that's been proven. So, and they paid to have your put you all over the TV. That's why you're not in school. Because you couldn't.
That's why you're not in school. Thank you. Yeah.
That and your probably couldn't find a man because she's a bit How many times did she almost starve?
Do one thing, say one thing, do the opposite. Exactly.
Well, when she started, she was obviously too young to find a man. But her parents, come on. When a 9 or 10-year-old starts starving herself half to death and skipping school, it's time to not encourage that, to say, nope, you got to anyways, you got to go to school, you got this stuff and that,
Oh, I saw there were not 3 leaves. I'm sorry, there were 3 pentacles, or no, sorry, there were 3 how do you say pentagrams there.
There's 3 hanging sort of above him right up there, and then there's 3 hanging sort of below him. He has his dish. There's people there with hands, so maybe he has enough for himself, and whatever else is what he's giving out or connecting to. And and some people realize that there's the provision. It's like everybody, if you look at the resources in this world, everybody can have land. Everybody can be taken care of.
My God!
They literally set things up that everybody has enough land to produce their own food,
exactly.
All sorts of stuff. But
it's all about control, of resources,
exactly. And it's like California has enough to feed 3 times the world's population if they figured instead of the factory farming meat, just cut down to animals grazing the Badlands and in between, not shipping food from all over the world and water from all.
And then they say,
they give most of the food to the animals, and so it's like you don't have to be vegetarian. You can still take care of whatever. And there's parts of Europe that maybe are there's parts of you don't even have to do the whole of Europe. There's parts of Europe. And both Europe and America produce enough beer that if people cut down on the beer enough. The beer and the other alcoholic beverages, if they cut down on that enough, you could actually provide. You could actually multiply the. You could double or triple the world's population from that.
And then they say, there's a lack of resources, and from that lie, politics is made. And
well, that's what I found out, because people talk about population problems, and it's like none of it's. I don't think any of it's inherent.
Population problem. There is no fucking population.
There's people different. There's people different, but look what back in the day, it's like back before World War II, they started this artificial mixing thing. It's one thing that there was sort of starting the drive of principle towards equality, you could say. That some people was like at the very least, but it's they wanted people of all colors to serve all over the military and stuff. So they wanted the minorities filling positions of military and police and stuff too. It wasn't equality wasn't what was driving it.
No, no, exactly.
That's not
Although
true.
they want this,
That's not true.
they want
But
this, oh,
what
exactly.
allowed for it? So the churches,
Yeah.
the churches that often work for the richest guy around, like I
yeah.
have found, I have found, like I told you, there's it seems that a certain synagogue is run by certain richer members of the synagogue. In what terms of what they're going to condemn or allow. It's like if Torah says it, if the rabbinic, if the Talmud says it, why can't they teach it regardless of? Oh wait, we got to find out who has the money here and then direct our sermons towards that. And churches are even better known for that. Churches are even better known than synagogues than trying to placate the rich with some gospel prosperity and all that sort of stuff. And so rest between, you got your place. And I guess one of the things about success is because most people don't realize they got enough, they've been successful enough in life. Either they have the means to do what they should be doing, or and it's clear that they have more than enough means, or they don't acknowledge that they have enough in life and they act like they don't have enough in life. And as you know, I encounter that quite frequently. This idea that if I get what I need, I can't live on what I need. I need at least 3 times that. Everybody else should even be giving, instead of helping feed the hungry people or something like that, maybe they should give more charity so I can live in a villa, or whatever. And but people are like that. People are like that left and right.
Exactly.
So in my country in particular, I've read it's like I recently did a thing about part 2 of a particular book, and that to go, to be posted up as one of my midnight programs. But the the thing about that is that I guess it's in book 3, maybe the teachings on begging, or maybe it's book 2. I don't remember which. But on begging. If you have what you need, you don't go around begging.
No. No, you don't. No, I mean,
it's like I understand, like a few days ahead, that sort of thing. It's like homeless people don't get what they need for
good example.
Every single day for whatever. And I haven't been homeless, but I don't have. If I only live for the moment, per se, and don't consider the future, I don't have enough. I've basically run out at times too, and people I didn't have to give anything. That's the thing. It's always been in my life that whenever it was about the time that I would have to beg, then someone steps in and says, here's some, let me buy your groceries, let me buy you a load of groceries, let me here's some. And they give me good food too. They give me like whole grain bread from the groceries they got. Our bag of oranges or something. Right when I'm about to run out of fruit, and it's like another week before I get money or something like this.
Wow. Oh wow.
But if I'm in that situation, I don't think I'm too proud to beg because I've But there's people that have plenty, and one of the things I get with this card is this guy's not one of those people that's going to be like, I have, because people figure that if you don't, it's like you're if you don't have enough to do stuff that's not right with your money and do stuff that's not necessary,
that is right for your money and necessary.
So stuff that's just that's frivolous. It's like if you can't go out to eat every day, it doesn't mean you're too poor to survive.
This makes me think about the Romanians and the, for example, the Romanians here in Sweden, that they always help the Romanians. But what do the Romanians do with the money? They buy beer with the money, they buy cigarettes, and they always give money to the wrong people. Why can't you give those who buy out of necessity?
They could, for example, limit things. Like in my country, they've tried. I think when they have the food stamps, they should say, don't allow Pop-Tarts, don't allow bleach bread, leave out the stuff with a lot of hard chemicals, stuff like that. And you can even give us more money and just limit it to, you know, if you're poor and you're collecting the thing, give them health food. Because obviously, whether you're disabled,
it's so simple,
or younger, or you've got so old that you're decrepit, it's not that you've got old; it's that you've got disabled. There's difference. I fully support 100-year-old people in the workplace if they want to, if they're able and everything else. Whatever. But if somebody who is 20 and they're disabled, well, okay, then they should be helped out even more than the person who's just a particular age. Help out the disabled before you help out the people who are able to get things done. But
it's like the logic is missing.
But if they limit things, either way, if you're disabled. Because that's really what we're talking. People don't retire until they're disabled and can't work. Because retirement tends to be too low unless you have a separate. If you have a 401k and a separate savings plan, then you can retire. But a lot of people, they wait to retire even with a 401k because they know that 401k is not going to last them if they live a long life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's
I mean.
But so what happens is you know
shit I mean it's not, it's like, where's the logic behind the resource
but also what we notice with certain groups is really stereotypical behavior. It's like I know the vast I know from experience and paying attention that the vast majority of Mexicans aren't particular ways that people talk bad about Mexicans. But I remember Mexicans or other Hispanic people. I remember the stereotypical stuff, the bad stereotypes. I remember that behavior better than almost everything of the rest.
Most people, because you've been
I forget whole friendships before I forget some of the other stuff that I've seen.
I know.
But
you have an eye for that.
It's like I know they're not whatever, and same thing. I know from experience being around people who were raised in America, who were labeled black or whatever, and they weren't like whatever, you know.
Because you care. Those people who care, they observe. You know what people just don't even observe.
But
that's a sign of
whatever your whatever a person's nationality, whatever a person's whatever. What they actually believe, that's what I care about. If that's what I see, that's what I see. And I'm definitely not going to excuse them for what happened to their ancestors or whatever. Their situation is their situation. Now, if how's that song go? I don't mind stealing bread from the mouths that are overfed, because I'm going hungry.
That's a good song.
You remember? You know what I'm talking about? I didn't get the tone right.
No, I never heard of that. No, but it sounds like a good song.
But I totally there's a difference. It's like that. It's like that. The scene in the Aladdin movie where the guy takes the apple and he's about to get his hand cut off for it.
No.
That's well, somebody could do that on their own, but that's not really how those societies work. They consider if you were poor and stealing for what you needed, that was one thing. If you saw a nice, if you saw a nice guitar, if you saw a nice guitar in a shop and decided to take it, even if you were going to sell it later for whatever, no, you got to take what you need. And it has to be significant enough. It's not like somebody steals a meal worth of food and whatever. That's But it's always considered in that before anybody punishes you, and that's sort of the thing too. Is that if someone's going to commit a crime like taking something, it's whatever. And they should also, in my country, they should consider when the gangs have kidnapped your family members, what you do for the gang in order to get your family back. And they know that you did this for the gang. That should be considered in your sentencing. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much for that. Yep. Absolutely. I agree.
Or if they have guns, they could literally have guns pointed to your head and you'll be charged for the crime of whatever they've made you do at gunpoint. People get charged for crimes that they've done at gunpoint. People follow them. People hook up bombs to people, point guns at them, and they know it.
Oh, shit.
Or they think that's the case. They're directed like it's the case. you know, they give you an earpiece and you go into a bank and all this stuff. I haven't been put through that, but other people have been put through that and even had to go to prison afterwards. It's even got that obvious of a thing. So
I mean that's what our justice system should take into consideration, like the situational thing. Not just blindly, okay, you did this, you did that, okay, you punished, because we want to have control of everything, you know.
But they shouldn't go, but they on the other hand shouldn't go so far that they're like poor or rich, what you know, they need to be blind in that respect, but they need to you know and it shouldn't be like a lot of Eastern countries for thousands and thousands of years have had this idea that's creeped back and forth, where they look at how Eastern Europe too, by the way, where they look at how valuable supposedly you are to society, and then they direct your punishment accordingly. And in America, that's happens too. You go to jail for life for making some inappropriate comments to a series of people. And you get 5 years apiece, and they end up charging you whatever. So you got to watch what you say. I'm not saying these people did appropriate behavior, but you can strike, or you just pick up women in the bar and the police don't like you, so they look into that and find out, oh, statute. Oh, you know, some guy where I spent half my life. He just picked up women in the bar. It wasn't the best of behaviors, but police ended up not liking him and looking him up, and they traced it down and more than a few women that went to the bars that he picked up turned out to be too young. Now, were they victims? No, they were liars and there to get drunk and whatnot too. They chose
they're victims. They're women. They're always victims.
But they put this thing in here to fill jails. It was entirely to fill jails. But this next one, which is more of the point. Now, I like this word that was brought up, and I'm sure you remember what was said with this card, or come on.
No, this was the third one, right?
This is Mr. Horned one, yes.
The horn. Oh, the Mr. Horned one, even. Who can that be?
Well, I mean, that's not the.
Okay.
Carnunos is the horned one, so it's
Pan or Cernunnos. Yeah, Cernunnos. Yeah,
it's typically the devil card. So I guess Zoom isn't going to let me show you the whole card at once unless I wave my hands and you see in between.
Okay, I understand.
So that's the horned one. So what do you? The word I use is shaman.
Is that Adam and Eve, or?
A shaman is a religious specialist, but a religious specialist that works on consciousness.
You said that last time. Yeah, religious specialist.
So it's not your access to controlling priest or a lot of stuff, or it could be, but it doesn't have to be. So it's a fair word. And no, and let's remember clearly, people, anybody who's watching this, a shaman is different than a drug addict. A shaman might be a drug addict because he has to use plants into shamanism or something, but it's not the same as drug addict. So people need to.
Well, soon we will have Equating making a book about the shamanism and drugs and how to do exactly that, which is not shamanism.
He did, and of course, I haven't seen it, but herbarium, daimonium, or something. I don't know something like that.
And it's like, demonium. It must sound so.
And he wants to move to Colombia, where he can get away with you doing cocaine and stuff. Which the fact they found him with a bunch of cocaine, it's not like nobody knows that he hasn't tried cocaine. There's worse things than cocaine. But I mean, there's actions, actions against other people. But the point is, okay, what is this card? The shaman works his influence over what was done physically. Must the sky dragon of being a temptation to infernality. Now, dragon, one of the interesting things you find, you can do those bija mantras or any other spiritual, Arabic has 30 sounds, Hebrew has 22 sounds. Even those languages, you can make your way through your whole body and see all sorts of colors, and it's like, wow, you see auras around yourself and others, if you do techniques like this right. And with practice, like the whole Sorry-gamma pa ni sha shoni.
Oh, one of those chants again.
What? So that's
I've seen your chants. It'd be great. Yeah.
So if you can look at that stuff and knows what it means. Don't chant,
it's sound, right?
Don't just chant some stuff
exactly.
I've brought up this group. I brought this group. I don't see any sign that your average person knows what any of this stuff means. Not even ohm. Not even ohm.
Okay, not even ohm. Oh wow.
Well, I mean, most people don't know what ohm means, so that's whatever. But
I mean, I'm thinking about the sun, but it's probably much more than that, I guess.
Yeah, it's verily the zoom of being. You gotta have meanings like that if you're going to say what ohm means.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I mean,
so but they say all this stuff and they don't know what it means. They don't know.
Exactly.
The highest without blame, Jot Naranjan, is somehow like the devil that you're going to criticize. It's like, well, he plays a role, but you can go higher than that. Higher than being without blame, beyond fear, that sort of stuff. What sense does that mean? Beyond time, they're talking like, oh, the circle of sound, the circle of other what sense?
The sine wave, right?
So people are related to in their I mean, I guess the psychic perception of the aura can be manipulated by certain beings. It's like you hear about people once they receive initiation in some orders or whatever that they're that they start seeing things in their auras permanently. There'll be dots or streaks or even things like objects or other shapes or something like this more commonly. And
I mean, is it true that is it true that when we become like more in tune with our energies in the body that we can like see auras everywhere, or is that your experience?
It's not constant. It's not constant, but as I've been sharing. Now, since I already shared a picture, not as constant, since I already shared a picture of what may be, I find we find a turtle named 70, and we have to save it from. We have to move it aside when we're doing yard work and repeatedly. And now now I found another turtle. Haven't touched it yet because unless you're keeping it safe, you don't touch it in a protected species.
Okay.
If you find it injured injured and you nurse it back to health, they might give you leeway or something. But other than moving it out of the road or moving it away from your tools or taking it back from your dog, dogs and cats are driving species extinct. Dogs will find some critter out in the woods and start gnawing on it, and because they're a weaker animal, they just don't break things apart like a lot of things do. Now,
interesting.
The turtles have shells, so it doesn't happen with them so easily. But other animals, a wolf or something would do it better because a wolf has more predatory predatory instinct. But these things without humans, they survive in big numbers. They end up, a lot of things end up going extinct because we got cars and we come in with our dogs and our machinery and all this other stuff. And and no creature is safe, not even a lion.
No.
And we wonder why every chance a lion figure it almost seems like every time a lion figures out how to go into town and kill 100 people, it does. The only reason why it stops from doing that many is because it's stopped itself. So it goes. It goes into town. It's like deer and all that stuff is fast. Humans are slow, stupid. It's like people. Is that real? There is that someone's pet? It's like you see that on video. You see that on video when something breaks free from a zoo or a private collection or something. You see people like idiots. Like is that real? It's like, is that real? Is that real? A lion or a tiger breaks loose? You got some grizzly bear wandering about town. It's like people are like, is that from the circus
shit.
or
Yeah.
and
what the fuck?
But it's like
yeah.
Of
course it's real.
I've put up laundry lines, and since I put them up, plants grew over them. People talk like the environment. You know what's going to happen when humans disappear from any area?
No.
Things are just going to come back. It's like some of the best areas. One of the Chernobyl. Chernobyl with all the radiation, despite the problems, the fact that humans don't want to live there makes that place like crawling with animals.
What? Are you joking with me?
Yeah, plants and animals are very strong in Chernobyl right now because there's not the human beings to mess with things.
You gotta be joking with me. That is so interesting. I mean, that is
wow. And if it's Japanese, Fukushima or however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
Fukushima.
Oh, Fukushima.
Fukushima. Okay, what?
Yeah.
That close enough.
Yeah,
right?
there's actually a place called Fukushima in Japan. Like I forgot about that.
Well, there's a country that
Fukushima. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
Well, some languages you got sounds like that. Like it's like people. It's like you say.
It's like they're angry. Like
in Russian you say fucked. Yeah. Instead of that's how they pronounce the word fact. Fucked.
What?
And so it sounds like you're saying.
That's interesting.
So it's like why does Putin keep swearing when he's talking? Because he's saying it in the German way.
What the fuck?
Not the German way, the Russian way. Whatever.
Okay.
I mean, it is distinctive, but So okay, if we're in charge of our field of being, of our being and our field of being, we don't have to be tempted towards the wrong direction. And I guess we can talk about Mr. Horned one over here. He's not the devil, but it's the power given is by choice here, people.
Okay, yeah.
And
okay.
And okay, where's the and Satan strips the people of their clothes and they're left off in the wilderness. They're not like with the love and I don't know, maybe Satan likes to watch
the sacred parts. Okay.
But he's sort of a berserker, so it's stuff that you you do want to influence your physical reality. You just don't want to get it's like you're not a shaman if you're just getting high and having sex with people and whatnot and whatnot. That's not shamanism, that's something else. That's Burning Man or a Fish concert or something else that people don't know as much about not commonly know. But once spiritual and psychological attunement and specialization goes towards controlling your physical thing. You see all this green. Green is a very physically reminding color.
It's so beautiful too.
You see a lot of dark, so it right before the sun sets, you have a lot of green. Green is one of the last colors to disappear in the forest.
Really? Oh wow!
As it gets dark, green is one of those colors that. So you see, it can seem greener. Like when when things get covered with clouds, it can seem greener. Or after sunset, it can seem greener. Or before the sun rises, it can seem greener than it usually is.
Okay. Wow.
And I don't know if this is the dawn, because there's a glow. Is it sunrise or sunset? The twilight. The sunset twilight zone is a particular time for stuff to come out. I've experienced it. I've brought this up many a times by different ways. I've experienced like whether a particular time of year, like the sunset that starts in the new month at that particular time of year, it's like something happens. And the sunset that starts
something happens.
The month something happens is like something's not there.
Exactly.
And
I'm thinking about that too when I see this.
But
like
in the evening period, the evening period is also a point. But there's also entities that like the sunrise, the midpoint of the day, and the sunset. So, but the sunset, after the sunset, a lot of things come out, because a lot of these things were here before humans. A lot of these non-physical beings were here
before humans.
And so the fact that humans basically take over during the day, so humans kind of start to settle down. Even a debaucherous area, people still try to get to sleep.
That's so interesting. Like, and humans think they're so clever that we were here first and all of that. No, we're just a shadow of,
and that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. We don't even see. There's agendas being worked, even by other human beings. There's agendas being worked, and we can't with your average person can't with evidence right in front of them. And they're told, oh, conspiracy theorists and all this other stuff.
Yeah, conspiracy.
They even look at the people are being paid off. You have certain things, and you look at the people. Really?
Yeah.
You're going to take a vaccine from somebody who went on TV saying they would support a depopulation agenda, even if it killed billions of people.
Now I understand.
Even if it killed billions of people, they would support a depopulation agenda, and you're going to take drugs from those people.
Oh, really?
Shit. And some of these these people control a lot of the policies that decide whatever stuff that would be less likely, and we're like, no, we're just going to go along with whatever they say. So see, we have a creature directing people.
Oh, that's how it works.
So see, it doesn't have to be doesn't have to be temptation. It can just be something we respond to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wow.
Like a lot of people. Oh, I'm a shaman, so I have to summon up all the dark creatures. No, what you have to do is you have to work with your shadow. Don't call up a bunch of entities into your shadow, whether they're whether you're trying to worship some angel
because the
who
shadow
doesn't care about you in the first place, or some demon who might not care about you, but doesn't have to do what you say at the very least, because it has a choice too.
Yeah,
like human beings have they have a choice. They're not even bound. You're bound to your physical body. You have to be incarnated here. They don't, so they can go around and do whatever. And you're just going to fall into your shadows and
and we suppress the very thing that gave birth to us, that was before us, even more ancient than us, that the shadow,
and our body, as I pointed out, I very strongly believe that we were basically before we had bodies, that we we all of humanity, even before humanity was established on Earth, humanity I believe that humanity existed, but we all had a consciousness that, hey, we can make the right choices and whatnot if we incarnate. So we decided to incarnate, and most of us screw it up either minorly or majorly, where we're worse than we are good. But it's a permission thing. It's a permission thing. So when you take control of your awareness and stuff, and then some of that stuff happens. So you're working with your own consciousness, your own sensation. As I'm saying, the green off the screen in this chart is the physical. So you got your sensations and your emotions, your memory, your mind, and your intuition. So you're broken up into those. You're operating those things. So when you operate those things and without, you break away the permission that would be granted for whatever dark entity coming in and do whatever it wants.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about some spirit in the wood that is.
You don't. Okay, that's good.
Well, I mean, you have to. People definitely have to respond to things in life. It's like, where did that weird suggestion go? Am I going to follow every suggestion? No, not quite.
No, exactly. No.
But
but be guided by it. Be guided by it. I mean,
and your actions give permission too.
Okay.
And I had an experience.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
With the 29th Enochian key, I didn't even expect it, and it's very interesting that we did a video to go up on the. I should try to. Lower my voice to not encourage you to raise your voice. Because I don't know about the recording volume, and I've got a lot of talk in the past, and there's some people that
don't worry about it.
Right. So I had this experience. So these
Yeah.
two rocks,
Mhm.
and I don't have them out.
Oh
and
yeah,
it's too
the
difficult to get
bloodstone
to
and
it.
the
I don't have. It's too difficult to get the thing. So I'm going to show you the page here.
Okay, yeah, wow.
If I can, come
Yeah,
on,
sure.
show me the.
Yeah, the fucking zoom.
So I had this experience with
Mhm. Wow, that's so cool.
it was like totally Gnostic too. So I had
Okay.
these two rocks. So
Mhm.
the experience with the two
Yeah.
rocks depicted. There's two
Mhm.
rocks depicted on this thing,
Okay, yeah.
and
Oh,
I've
it's
written
not shown.
numbers
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the experience related to that. I
Mhm.
don't want to
Yeah.
say too much, but well, I guess this video goes up afterwards. So,
Okay, yeah.
so to remind,
Mhm.
I encountered entities. I encountered three
Wow.
entity. There was this like
Wow.
there was like 365 layers that I can't really describe because it was like a light being
What?
realm, and I mean light being like
Yeah.
not human,
Yeah.
not just some bright
Mhm.
realm, but whatever.
Okay.
And in above this, in bright darkness, there was a
Mhm.
being that was like a
Yeah.
stereotypical Abraxas. It was like I encountered.
What?
It was like I encountered what people think Abraxas is, and it's
Mhm.
like I encountered what people think
What?
Barbalo
Yeah.
is, or
Uh-huh.
otherwise known as.
Mhm.
But it sort of had an element that made you think of Yaldabaoth.
Is that Yaldabaoth? Yeah.
But Yaldabaoth isn't Barbalo. Well,
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yaldabaoth
They are the same.
is like a misunderstanding of Barbalo, I think, in some ways.
Okay, yeah.
Misunderstanding
interesting.
Abrasax way,
Yeah.
and Abramelto. But each of these things, like one was super. It was like one was a
What?
one was a chicken bull snake creature, and it was it was of orange, green, yellow, and purple. One was a blue and black wearing, and it was like a woman.
What?
But like a woman, strong yet curvy and delicate at the same time, and
Wow, shit.
and stuff like
Yeah.
this. And she had like the Yaldabaoth had 12 heads. This thing had 12 heads.
What? What?
And each
That's
one was
so
like,
cool.
each one was like a different race, except like there was a Caucasian head and an East Asian head. So it wasn't all the races, but it's like 10 for the rest of them. And
that's interesting.
There was an East Asian one and there was a Caucasian one.
Okay.
So other races were represented by the other 9 heads. So there's like, there was like the Islander American sort of one.
Wow.
Australian one, and there was like African one. It was interesting. It was like, so the Yaldabaoth thing is like a snake thing with like heads at each side or something. It wasn't like that.
What?
So the Yaldabaoth is like a perversion of that, but
okay.
But the message with each of those was, I am not Abraxas, but people think I am. I am not Barbalo, but people think I am. I am not Abaramento, but people think I am. And that's what happened. That was happening.
That's the key.
There's been a bunch of
okay.
But I think there was guidance, you could say. I found my grandmother died with some polished rocks and stuff. So gradually I've been incorporating some of them as time goes by, either in circles for ritual use or taking them separately and using them as meditation stones until I see a particular vision, and then I record what the stone's like. I do a video where I show the stone, and I'm reminded of the vision when I see the stone to some degree.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
So, but I was guided. I felt like I was guided to use 3 stones.
Oh, there I see the stones.
In my future practice. So these 3 stones that I picked out from the circle that I have around the altar that I was going to paint.
Oh, they seem to be yellow.
There was a different consciousness and whatnot, but it's like 365. Now, what I can't find reference to the ions. Abraxas is supposed to be the ion of ions. So Abraxas is actually like supposed to be a name for God. And if you look at Abraxas, Barbalo,
Is that
and
same as-
Abramelto, they're names for God. Rather than putting them like as separate beings, like a Christian Trinity or something like this is the Gnosticism. When Gnosticism got taken over by the Christians, it got a lot more limited than it actually was.
Is that why some people say Yaldabaoth and Yahweh the same, or are they the same, or do you know anything of that?
Well, it's not. It's Yaldabaoth is like depicted like some Christian idea of Yahweh.
Okay, but do you know if they're connected or in some way, or? I mean, God. One thing I learned about Abraxas.
Well, if you look at the Christian idea or even the Jewish idea, it doesn't sound like a universal deity, but it but it speaks like it's a universal deity, and therefore, so they put all this tribal stuff, all this stuff limiting it, and therefore whatever. And but if you look at the meaning, of Araxu, Barbalo, and Abramelto, you don't have to think of them as father, mother, child deities and all this other stuff. But people do. People over time, they take. It's like you look at the Arabic words for God that are used by the Muslims. If you look if you look back in history, there was a time where people said, "Oh, Al-Wad isn't the loving God is either." The loving God is like some strong man, some muscle man sort of thing. And
maybe I think Nagago did a video. He did a video once about the different prisms of Satan or whatever, and he said like, okay, Satan, he can appear as many different gods and all that, but really you have to look beyond all that, all those differences, see the unifying thing.
And so rather than understanding that these are there's created ideas and there's created things that we understand these qualities and even essences through, people start to worship the thing that we understand the broader thing through.
Yeah, exactly.
And this happens in different ways. Either somebody picks up a rock, or they has to be a distant thing. That's why people worship Jesus, is because Jesus is a way of like worshiping a guru without something. With something that's not a lot, that's something it can't be verified, it can't be proved wrong right to your face.
Okay, yeah.
So let me see about getting the Princess of Wands here. Is the whole card in view?
Yeah, not the sort of. It's kind of fades away sometimes, but the card is pretty much in view. The whole thing.
So there's now it's perfect. Okay, it looked like she was writing something. I'm gonna have to keep moving my hand to keep it from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because even if I press the green screen, it does. This too. Oh,
that got to be frustrating. Oh, so this was the Princess of Wands.
Curious and willful. She starts to develop and can be backed in her psychology. She is full of style that can envelop a communication of what she is spiritually. Oh, and that's one of the things I think is that we some of the stuff that we look at, like the wands can be thought of as it's like. It's not that you go beyond the body or you go beyond the mind, represented by the other.
You use the mind, you use the body, right?
You use this, and your will is pushing you further toward,
Exactly.
And of course, the princess could be there's work she can do, learning she could do, developing she could do.
Okay.
Any final thoughts for this one?
I mean, I pretty much saw it the same. The princess is also the thing, maybe leading the whole thing. Like a princess or a king, they're like the leader, those who make sure that they have full view of the empire, so to speak, and making sure the empire feels good and gets forward in a certain direction, and they create the laws and the rules. And make sure
the princess. You feel that with the court cards, but the princess or the page. It is sort of about the process. The things got to continue themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
things got to continue themselves, and obviously in that position, people have got to do stuff for you because it's like, well, the the knights and all that got to do stuff in
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
in interacting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
and obviously Mr. Prince that wants to get with Mrs. Princess has to do stuff to woo her.
Yep.
So if he's not, if we're not talking about training and along the way, if you're talking about the card, the court cards in relationship terms.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.